Hello everyone. Now, someone on Instagram asked me a really good question, which we thought we would answer in a video. And the question she asked was, does Peter take part in any of the sports you do, or is he just taking care of you? So here we are answering the question. So to start with, can you remember
Yes.
what it was that we talked about fitness-wise right back at the beginning, when we met on social media, and I asked you what?
Well, you wanted to get a photo of me. Obviously, a lot of guys, they don't let on who they are or what they look like or anything. And I said to Melanie that I train at Bodyfix Gym in Christchurch and I do spin classes there regularly. So went to spin one night, took a photo and sent it straight to her, and she liked what she saw. Yeah.
Yeah, because I wanted to make sure he was who he said he was. I am quite a motivated individual. I find exercise to be quite central to my mental health, if nothing else. And a lot of people say they exercise, but I wanted to see if it was actually true. So the first picture I got was you standing in the back of a spin class.
Yeah, and Melanie makes a really good point there about mental health, and I do exercise for my mental health. I'm also type 2 diabetic, so it's in my interest to help drive my body to keep my blood sugars down. I, however, do not have the drive that Melanie has.
We do exercise for different reasons.
Exactly.
That's what it is. So the question being, does Peter do the sports with me, or does he just look after me? Do you do the sports with me, or do you just look after me?
I don't do the sports with you.
And you don't just look after me either?
No, I look after you. I don't just look after you. You're not just...
We do exercise for completely different reasons. So my reason to exercise is a drive to do more things, to be better than I was last week, to prove all those haters wrong when they say I can't do this and I can't do that and I can't do the other. But ultimately, I actually like triathlon. I actually like the challenge it gives me and the variety, in so much as I was able to swim or bike or run on any given day when I wanted to. Now I'm down to 2 of them. And right at the start, when they amputated my leg, they told me that I wouldn't. Actually, before that, they told me that I wouldn't ride a bike when I had my knee replacement. So I was like, And then I wasn't going to be able to do triathlon. So I was like, So I am still on the path of proving people wrong with that. And that's where Challenge Wanaka comes in next week. I'm not able to run. I'm not actually sure I'll ever be able to run in the capacity I need to under their silly rules, but we'll get onto that another day. So I'm doing Challenge Wanaka Aquabike. And that is from a personal challenge point of view. I feel different if I haven't exercised, and I need to do that, and it's important in my life. So when I was in hospital all those 8 times, my surgeon knew it was that important, and sent me away with a big bag of dressings and some instructions, and let me swim in between all of my 7 surgeries. So I was swimming with waterproof dressings and an open wound, because she knew how important that was for me. But you and your motivation to exercise is different, isn't it? So what's yours?
Well, I'm a type 2 diabetic, so I have a mission or a drive to keep my blood sugars down, and that is done by activating my pancreas by doing exercise. It helps burn off sugars, and also I do it for my mental health, because we both have mental health issues and we find it beneficial for us.
Now, I am very motivated to exercise. I've had to really do a mental adjustment with the amount I can now do versus the amount I used to be able to do, and that's been real tough to actually dial it back and find other things to do instead. My occupational therapist told me I had to take up some pastimes that involved sitting around and not moving my body, and that was quite hard. Meanwhile, are you motivated to exercise?
I am, but not as motivated as you are, Melanie. In fact, I don't think there are many people that are as motivated as you are to exercise. What I am motivated to do is to keep my mental health well balanced. That is achieved by exercising. However, I don't have the drive that you have. I don't have the need to get on bike or pump weights or go for a run or go rowing. I do train in our gym that we've made up in the garage 2 to 3 times a week, and I find that very beneficial. I've got a hard personal trainer.
What happens if you don't exercise for a couple of days? What do you notice?
I notice more my mental well-being, if anything. Would you say? Definitely affects me mentally. There are times when, if you're in a bad place mentally, you don't even want to exercise, but that's the time that you have to exercise.
Now, talking about that, it leads me on to the next topic quite nice. Back a couple of years ago, when I was sort of reasonably fresh out of the amputation surgery, I was really struggling with my drive, mental capacity to do anything. I couldn't even get myself across 4 steps across the drive into the garage where my bike was parked on a trainer to do any exercise at all. I just wasn't. So my solution was I brought the bike into the house and I parked it right here in this room. So then all I've got to do is walk 4 steps from the fridge or the bedroom and I'm there, and that worked quite well for me. Then Peter came down, moved down here, so I had to move the bike out of the kitchen, and then at the same time you decided to start group exercise classes because we were looking for a replacement, I think, for what you'd been doing in Christchurch.
I went and joined a great group exercise with Mana Harrison. He runs a great fitness group fitness studio in town here, so big heads up to him. And when we came back from Europe, we were really struggling financially, and in order to sort of be able to accomplish getting fit and healthy again, we sort of killed 2 birds with 1 stone and turned the garage into our own fitness studio. I say 2 birds with 1 stone because it gave us a bit of a boost to do a tidy up that was sadly needed around the place too.
Yeah. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I closed down my gym a couple of years back and moved to work from home, and that tied in with sort of the amputation and things, and I've cut back on the personal training and I'm now just focusing on massage. But I had gyms full of equipment stashed around the place, so we decided to use that and actually make the workout space that I've been using in the garage look nicer, because if the surroundings are nicer, you're more likely to use it, aren't you? So let's have a look at what we did. This is our gym. In that gym space, what I do is I still use it for my bike and the indoor trainer. My bike is parked in front of a table, and I usually now have got the TV on and the iPad on with Zwift or Ruvi running, and that's how I will use it, with a fan straight in my face. How do you use it?
We've got a rowing machine, as you can see in the video, where I will warm up rowing for 4 or 5 minutes. I do 1,000 metres usually, and then I have a personal trainer that comes on board and pushes me for 25 minutes or so on top of that. Yeah.
What's it like having your partner as a personal trainer?
Yeah, well,
wouldn't work for everyone.
It's free. It's free, but she drives me. I mean, the purpose of having a personal trainer is someone that will push me to a level that I'm not prepared to take myself to. I'm not as driven as Melanie. She can drive herself. She drives herself very hard. I do it when I have to do it.
So the way you get around that, if you're not quite as driven and you're looking to try and get started in exercise, you want to know how to get past all those barriers, remove the barriers. So we've got the gym right over there, so he doesn't have to get in the car and go anywhere. We have the personal trainer right here, marvellous. And then the other barrier we found was the time of day, wasn't it? So what have we done with that? Can you remember what we were talking about?
With training?
Yeah, how we timed the training into your day.
Well,
when works and when doesn't.
It works for me because typically when I come home from work, I'm still motivated, I'm warmed up because I've been working on the tools all day, and I'm quite keen to get into it then. I still have to book sessions in though because Melanie has other clients, but that's typically what works for me. And 2 days a week we do that, and then 1 day a week we do park run.
So the barrier was the time of day. So if he wanted to do some exercise and I couldn't fit it in till after I'd finished work at 7, that wasn't working. Because once it sat down, we weren't for getting up again, were we?
Not really, no.
So have a think about that if you're looking to try and motivate yourself to exercise. Maybe how it fits into your day might be the barrier. Maybe the weather, the location might be the barrier. How you're accessing it, that sort of thing. Remove as many barriers as you can. My barrier was getting to the garage, so I moved it into the house, and now I'm past that, and it's back in the garage. The next barrier was the garage is boring and cold and blah, blah, blah. So we got a heat pump installed in the garage to make it warmer in the winter and cooler in the summer. So now I've got no excuses.
So we not only that, but we have sounds. We have TV out there. We can watch a movie. We can listen to the top 40. We've made it a place that is enjoyable to be.
Yeah, we moved the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, we've
So
got
that
the Wi-Fi
you
out
can
there
connect
too.
the Wi-Fi, yeah, because I couldn't get Wi-Fi at that end of the house, which also made it boring. So yeah.
A real motivation also for me is as I'm getting older, as we all get older, our metabolism slows down. It's very easy to put weight on, to become lethargic, to just sit down and watch TV. Ask Melanie, I'm all for watching TV quite a lot. I like watching movies, I like reading the news, and it's quite hard to get me to get back up once I've sat down. But the motivation for me is that at the end of a day, while I'm still active and my body's warmed up, but I don't want to be old and fat and unhealthy and feeling like I'm 80 when I'm 55.
Yeah, and it truly is. It is true. If you use it, you lose it. Is very true.
So I'm 55. I don't feel 55. I feel 10 years younger most of the time.
Did you know that from the age of 34 onwards, your metabolism starts to slow and you start to lose muscle mass? From the age of 34.
Really?
When I first looked that up, I was quite surprised how young it started. Yeah.
And it really is more difficult to get back on the horse once you get off the horse as you get older. I don't want to stop now because I'm not entirely sure that I would get back on or start again. So that's my motivation not to stop. Just keep going.
I want to finish with parkrun because it also plays quite a big part in our week. Now, parkrun, to begin with, had quite a negative connotation for me, and I did not want to go there. I disengaged from that after I became single again. And I did that for quite a while, and then I thought, well, I'm just cutting off my nose to spite my face, so I put my big girl panties on and went back down to parkrun. I had never actually actively engaged in parkrun myself, so I'd never done a parkrun all the way around until I was an amputee. Because, well, who needs to do 5k when you can do however many k's you want, and then suddenly you can't do any k's and suddenly you want to do 5k's. It's interesting how things change. Then I found that they were quite a supportive community now. I mean this sincerely. The Invercargill bunch for parkrun really are a very inclusive, very supportive little family. And if I disappear and don't show up for a few weeks, I get contacted by one of them. Hey, where are you? So it's sort of become a bit of a sort of like Saturday normal. Sometimes I will wheelchair it, sometimes I will volunteer. I'm not wheelchairing it at the moment because Challenge Wanaka is next week, so my arms are currently resting. Then Peter came along, and of course I have go to parkrun on Saturdays, so you have to come with me, Peter.
Boy, that was great. I'm not really a runner. I'd never even heard of parkrun. The irony of the whole thing is that I used to live on Hagley Ave by Hagley Park in Christchurch, and just across the road from us is the largest parkrun family in New Zealand, which is the Hagley Parkrun family. 900 odd people, not all racing the same day, but they have 900 people, members of that particular parkrun club.
And I'm just going to add in there, parkrun does not mean run. Parkrun can mean run, walk. You can bring your kids, you can bring your dogs on a small lead. I do it in a wheelchair. It does not mean you have to run.
Yeah. So that was my introduction to parkrun, was when I came down here and met Melanie. And the funniest thing was, one of my very early trips down here, I was sitting next to a young lady on the plane on the way back, and you want to sort of be polite, but you don't want to sort of creep her out. And I started talking to her about what I was doing in Invercargill with my new partner Melanie, and how we went to parkrun on Saturday. And it was just the most amazing coincidence, because it turned out she was the director of a parkrun in North Beach in Christchurch, and she'd just been down in Wanaka for the weekend, and we just cracked up. It was just so funny. So one of your visits to me in Christchurch, we went and did parkrun there.
We did.
With her and her people, so that was really cool.
We were talking about this the other day, and Peter talked about how he's not motivated to exercise earlier, so I asked him about parkrun. So we had this conversation about whether you enjoy parkrun.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I'm not motivated by running. I'm not a big runner.
So last week, yes it was last week. Last week we went to parkrun, and I was doing the first timers briefing. Then I went and sat in the car because I'm resting for Challenge Wanaka. Peter was running, and Peter doesn't like running, he said, and doesn't like getting wet either. So we had this conversation like, what the heck do you go to parkrun for then if you don't like running?
And I said, I go to parkrun because Melanie goes to parkrun.
But then we unpicked it a bit more. And you use your watch, and you look at the time, and we talk about how you can't break that 30 minutes, and that's what you're trying to do. And so suddenly we realised that actually...
Yeah, there's a bit of motivation there. I'm fucked if I can crack 30 minutes though. I really am. I mean, it's just not happening. My times sit around 32 minutes, and I can't get them any better. But work in progress.
But that was a nice realisation for your point of view. Like, you were actually motivated to like go better than you did last week and things like that, even though you don't like running.
The best part of parkrun this last week, of course, was crossing the finish line, and Liz, who's the parkrun director, cheering me on, wishing me well, considering I was doing two of the things I
hated the most.
Hated the most.
Running
in
and
life.
getting wet.
Running and getting wet. And to be fair, they didn't turn the showers on until I was halfway through the parkrun. But yeah, then I couldn't stop because I was halfway. So yeah.
I'm going to finish with just a little piece of advice. So, Peter, if you had one piece of advice to give to people who know they should get started with exercise, health reasons or whatever, but are really struggling to do that, what would you say to them?
Don't give up. Start off. Get a friend to do it with you. That will motivate you. The first 1 or 2 times that you do it, it's going to hurt. You're not going to feel good about it. But once you've done it a few times, you will get better at it. Join a group like parkrun. Just start off walking it.
And then it becomes normal then.
Yeah, you'll make new friends. You'll become motivated to feel fitter and healthier. It'll make you feel better mentally.
The first few times I did parkrun, actually, I didn't do the whole parkrun because I couldn't. I did just a bit of it. Some people just come to parkrun to volunteer because they can't for one reason or another.
Yeah, and you've actually walked it now. She can walk it as well.
On 2 feet.
Yep. All 5Ks.
Yeah, indeed.
So baby steps. So if Melanie can do it with a leg missing, you can do it.
You know, there's one thing I just remembered there when you were talking about that, like get out and do it. You need. I just suddenly a memory came to me, and it was the day that you came home from work, and we'd been talking about going for a ride on Zwift, and you weren't feeling it, and the 2 bikes were parked in the garage, and you'd been like, nah. And so I got one better, and I got dressed into my cycling gear and sat on the sofa watching TV, ready in cycling gear. When you came in, I said, right, I'm going for a ride. And you went, what now? You know, yeah, get your kit on.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you to that person on Instagram for that question, and I hope that sort of helped answer it for you.
Yep.